Chapter 15. The Sieve of the Danaides. Everybody in the room fell silent. The slaves and slave girls stood attentively near the pillars and stared anxiously at their young mistress. The fountain, like a gay brook, continued its frolicsome tickling. In another room a canary trilled a lilting song, and from the garden outdoors could be heard the splashing of the little waterfall Claudia had mentioned. No longer was she thinking about a cool dip in the pool, however. "Why have they dragged off my brother?" she asked, fighting to control herself. "One of the men recognized Caius," Tyro said. "He had only one eye, and he wore a wooden sword in his belt." "The terrible ex-gladiator!" Flavius exclaimed. "He's the Heracles who spoke with the mysterious fat man in the cemetery," Rufus said. Julius offered. The other two men probably were friends of his, most likely the gladiators who sold Udo to Callan. Mucius turned to Tyro. "Why didn't they take you too?" he asked. "They didn't know Caius and I were together," Tyro said. "They attacked us in the Via Sacra, a short way from the prefect Manilius's villa. I happened to have stopped a minute. Caius went on ahead and was waiting for me on the entrance stairs. I was kneeling down to tie one of my sandal thongs that had come undone when I heard somebody shout, 'You rascal, where have you hidden the slave Udo?' I saw 3 men grab Caius and drag him away. I ran to them and threw myself between them, but it was as if I had run against the walls of Jericho. One man hit me over the head with a sandbag, another punched me in the nose, and the one with one eye hurled me out into the street where I lay half-conscious a long time. When I came to, the men had vanished with Caius." Claudia cried out, "Oh, I implore the merciful gods not to let them hurt Caius." Lysis tried to comfort her. "All they want is to find out where Udo is, Claudia," she said. "When Caius tells them, they will let him go." "Caius will never betray Udo," Rufus said. "Caius is a true Roman. He'd rather be murdered than endanger the life of his father." Limp with fear, Claudia sank into an armchair. "My father's life is endangered?" she said. "What are you saying?" A slave leaped to her side and dutifully pushed a low bronze footstool under her feet. 2 Arab boys fanned her with huge fronds made from ostrich feathers. "Mucius," Claudia said, "I insist that you tell me everything that is going on." Mucius signaled to her, indicating the slaves with a movement of his head. Not all slaves were to be trusted. Many gossiped too much. Claudia understood. She sent the boy and girl slaves out of the room, permitting only Lysis, who had raised her and was more like an older sister than a governess, to remain. Mucius told her of the conspiracy of Udo and about the letter. "But luck's still on our side, Claudia," he said. "The conspirators know nothing of your father." That didn't calm Claudia, however. "My poor father," she sighed, and she began to weep. Disconcerted, the boys were silent. Claudia wiped her tears away with a handkerchief, rubbing her artificial eyelashes down her cheeks. "Why would anybody want to kill my father?" she asked, still sobbing. "That's something I'm afraid we can't figure out, either," Rufus said, holding back tears himself. He was shaken by Claudia's crying. "Tyro, you certainly must know why," Claudia said. "No, I don't know, mistress," Tyro said. "It must involve a high secret of state, or our master would have confided it to me. I think he does have some pressing worries, though, because for some time now he has been unusually reserved, as though he were weighed down by a heavy burden." "But what happens to my brother if he refuses to speak?" Claudia said. Flavius tried to console her. "You mustn't immediately assume the worst," he said. "Caius will give his sacred oath that he doesn't know where Udo is. He'll swear that Udo ran away." "I would tell them simply that Udo fell into the Tiber," Antonius said brightly. "No, I would say that he was transformed by a witch into a toad. There are so many toads, and how would the conspirators know which was the right one? Or—" "Stop it," Mucius interrupted him. "You forget that even if, under pressure, Caius tells where Udo is, it won't be of any use to the conspirators. Xanthippus has hidden Udo in a secret room. We must tell Xanthippus right away, so that he is warned. He himself should be hiding at a friend's or somewhere else, instead of staying at the school." "Xanthippus must disguise himself," Antonius said. "I'll get him a wig from our hairdresser. They all loan out wigs. Xantippus puts on the wig and also cuts off his beard. Then he flees to Pompeii and creeps into the crater of Vesuvius. Better yet, he could sail to Crete on the next boat and hide in the famous labyrinth of the Minotaur. Nobody would ever find him there. I'm for that too, Publius said. Shut up, you two, Mucius said. Publius, why don't you race over to Xantippus now and tell him everything? That's unnecessary, Julius said. Why? The others exclaimed. The letter, Julius blurted out. Caius is carrying that dangerous letter. If the conspirators find it, they won't need Udo any more. All they want to know is in the letter in black and white. Almighty Heracles, Mucius groaned. I hadn't given the letter a thought. Vinicius is doomed, Flavius said to himself. And Caius too, Rufus muttered with a sidelong glance at Claudia. Claudia looked from one to the other, her eyes huge with terror. Why should the conspirators think Caius would have the letter? Publius said. To them he is just a boy who happens to know Udo. Why? Why? Julius mocked. Certainly the ex-gladiator is not so stupid as you. He caught Caius directly in front of the door to the prefect's villa. He must assume Caius got the letter from Udo so that he could show it to Manilius. That's probably why the ex-gladiator and his friends were waiting in ambush, to block his plan. Do you mind telling me where he would learn that Caius is Vinicius's son? Rufus asked. Caius doesn't have it branded on his forehead. What other boy would be running to the prefect's if it weren't his father in danger? Julius replied irritably. You are the stupid one, not I, sneered Publius. Julius was taken by surprise. Why? The ex-gladiator would have calmly let him go to the prefect with the letter. Manilius is one of the conspirators, remember? According to Udo's story, the prefect and Paulino are working together hand in glove. However, Rufus was not content. Then explain to me, Publius, why the ex-gladiator attacked and kidnapped Caius. Why didn't he let him go to see the prefect? Very simple, Antonius interpreted. The ex-gladiator recognized Caius as the boy who dumped the jug of honey over his head. He'd like nothing better than to get revenge. The ex-gladiator didn't even notice who dumped the honey over his head, Julius countered. He had his back turned to Caius. No, the ex-gladiator only wants to learn from Caius where Udo is. He wants to get hold of the letter and bring it to the prefect himself, to learn whom he's supposed to kill so that finally he can earn his 1,000 sesterces. He seems to be very greedy. I'm not even trying to follow you any more, Rufus muttered. I'm losing my mind. I am too, Flavius said. I wish Xantippus were here. This entire affair is more futile than the sieve of the Danaides, where no matter how much water you dip from the well, it all flows out again through the sieve. Claudia, Tyro, and Lysis listened to the complicated arguments of Caius's friends with mounting wonder. The boys still were unable to agree. The holes are not in the sieve, the holes are in your heads, Mucius asserted defiantly. Why do you say that? Julius asked. Because the ex-gladiator did take Caius prisoner out of fear that he might show the prefect the letter. Mucius went on. The ex-gladiator doesn't have the vaguest idea that the prefect is the conspirator. Udo saw the two fellows at the cemetery. Don't you remember? He told us the ex-gladiator asked the mysterious fat man who disguised his voice, Who are you anyway, and who are your other chums? By Pluto, you are right, Julius cried. Now Tyro interrupted. Young masters, he said, you're all proceeding from a false assumption. What do you mean? The boys said. Caius doesn't have the letter with him at all. Before we left for the prefect's, he gave me the letter. Here it is. He pulled it out of his tunic and showed it to the boys. Why didn't you tell us this earlier? Julius demanded. Young master, Tyro said, has anybody ever hit you over the head with a sandbag? No, Julius had honestly to admit. I'm only coming back to my senses slowly, and it just occurred to me that I have the letter. I must ask you to forgive me. If Caius doesn't have the letter, it may not look so bad for him after all, Rufus said, rejoicing. Not at the moment, Tyro said, but unfortunately tomorrow or the day after, Paulino will be arriving from Germania. It's well known that he's on his way to Rome. Paulino is the one who marked our master out as his target. As luck would have it, He also knows Caius. Claudia threw her hand to her mouth. "Oh, no," she cried. "He'll have Caius murdered so that he can't warn our father." Helpless, the others fell silent. "We must free Caius from that monster's claws before Paulino arrives," Rufus said at last, with fierce determination. "That's sweet of you, Rufus," Claudia said. She smiled at him in gratitude. "Free Caius is easily said," Publius suggested, "but we don't know where he is." "He's got to be locked up somewhere in the ex-gladiator's cellar," Rufus said. "Very smart," Julius said. "Maybe by chance you also know where the ex-gladiator lives?" "No," Rufus confessed in shame. "Hold your breaths, comrades," Mucius said excitedly. "I know what we must do." The others looked at him in expectation. Rarely did Mucius propose anything stupid. "We know from Udo that the two conspirators are supposed to meet again around midnight at the cemetery. We'll hide ourselves close by, listen, and then follow the ex-gladiator to his house. We'll wait until he falls asleep, and then we'll save Caius." "Fantastic!" Antonius cheered enthusiastically. But Julius was disappointed. Why should the ex-gladiator go to the cemetery again tonight? Certainly he knows that in the meantime Udo has escaped, he said. "You're crazy," Mucius retorted. "He might know, but the mysterious fat man doesn't. The ex-gladiator has to go to the cemetery to tell the fat man about Udo, probably about Caius, too." "The man is a professional murderer," Tyro said. "He won't give up his 1,000 gold pieces so easily." "You're right," Julius said. "The cemetery remains our last chance." "Maybe we'll even see a ghost," Antonius said, hopefully. "Ghosts haunt your head," Publius taunted. "Will you try to be very, very careful, too?" Claudia pleaded, deeply concerned. "We'll hide ourselves as well as Diogenes did in his barrel," Mucius promised, with a laugh. "Oh, friends," Antonius burst out, "this will be exciting." He rubbed his hands together in pleasure.